Welcome back, everyone. As you probably guessed from the thumbnail and the intro, this is what we're going over today. This is the Derya, or Derya Arms, DY9. So what is it? Well, it is basically, obviously, a Gen 3 Glock 19 clone, but it is different in a lot of different ways. So there's actually a few versions. I have all of the versions. So this is the base model that you guys see here with the slide with no fancy cutouts or anything like that. Then they have the gold version, which is this guy here, which has the slide cuts and the gold TIN barrel, as well as the gold injected trigger safety on there. And then they also make the island version, which I have. It's not really my kind of thing, but it is a cool option that I think is going to be very, very popular. Basically what it is I should be rolling in images of it here on your screen, is basically it island ports, if you will, the barrel, so that way you have less reciprocating mass, and of course you have a bunch of different compensated ports on there, so that way the gun will stay extremely flat. That said, when I shot it, the thing was loud. It was extremely loud, and that was outside with hearing protection. I cannot imagine firing that indoors without hearing protection, but those are the models. We have them in here, again, just due to my preferences. This is what we will be talking about here today, because that's what we have the most experience with. I fired like one magazine on that island, and I was like, yeah, no, not for me. So there is that. So we'll start out with this gun, because this one has the factory magazine on there. We'll start from the bottom and then work our way up. It does come with two 15-round magazines. These are Turkish-made magazines, and I should also mention this gun is made in Turkey. However, Derya USA is the company that operates here in America and does import them. I did speak to their owner, which we'll get to a little bit later on in the review. And so just full disclosure, they did send them out, and they actually didn't ask me for a review. They just said, let me know what you think of them, and looking forward to what you say. But these guns have been so popular that I wanted to do a review and let you guys know the full details, and now we have enough rounds to be able to do so. But anyway, getting back, Turkish made 15-round Glock mags, but with weird base plates. That said, they will accept any base plates on there. So if you want to swap the base plates out, you can. And the reason I say that is, of course, we have a very nice mag well here as well. You can take that mag well off if you want to do that. So if you're going to like conceal carry the gun or something like that, I probably would take it off, but you don't have to. That's a personal preference thing, but it is a nice mag well that does feel good in the hand. But when you put it in there, it sits flush fit with that mag well. Now it looks cool, 100% it looks cool. But man, if you had a double feed with that thing, good luck trying to grip and rip that out. I mean, you would have a very difficult time. Me personally, I simply wouldn't do it. And if you look at something like this with just your standard 17-round Glock magazine in there, no issues with it in that configuration. So there is that. Magazines, comes with two of them. They're pretty good. I've had no issues with them. They are steel lined, as you'd expect, 4 Glock magazines, but polymer coated and cut for ambidextrous use. So there is that. We already discussed the mag well there. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of the mag well on is back here. It seems like there's a little bit of room that I could be contacting the gun with my hand, but I am not. That said, it makes it more concealable. Trade-off. That's actually something I didn't like about the Ruger RXM as well. I wish it came back a little bit longer in the rear than it does, but anyway, minor pet peeve there, not a big deal. It does come with 4 different interchangeable back straps. You just drive the pin out and remove that screw there on the mag well to swap them out. I have swapped both of mine out. I have XL size hands, and it fits just fine now in my hand. We have a little bit of room to get in there and control the gun. Definitely better than with the small one that it comes with from the factory. Speaking about the grip here, the front and the back have good traction, but you guys know me. If you guys have watched this channel for a while, you'll know I'm kind of always looking for a little bit more. Now, again, it's pretty good. It's not a big deal. It's not something I'd be like, oh, I would never use that gun because of it. But because it has very little traction on the side, and I'm guessing the reason they did that was for concealed carry, so that way it's not aggravating your skin or something like that if you're carrying it. But because it has very little traction there on the side, I really would like to go a little bit more aggressive on the front and the back strap. That is my preference. There is that. Additionally, as you go up over the magazine release button, there's no traction on there as well until you come up to the front of the gun, where they do have a little thumb rest on there, or a memory index pad, if you will. Different companies call it different things, but I would like to see that traction right there up here on the top if they ever make another generation of it. I definitely think that would be an improvement. Today it's about 90 degrees out here, pretty humid. My hands are slipping a little bit. That mag well's helping, but I would like a little more texture. Still runs. Magazine release comes obviously on the left side of the pistol. You can swap it though, and like we mentioned, the magazines are compatible with that. In terms of parts compatibility, almost everything on here is Gen 3 Glock parts compatible with a few exceptions. One of them is going to be that magazine release. So the magazine release is different. You can't swap it out with traditional Glock parts. Additionally, just off the top of my head right now, the actual extractor is different, the firing pin is different, and then the sights are different. Unfortunately, I learned the sights part the hard way. I actually ordered some XS sights from our friends over at XS to put on there and run during the test, and immediately took the front sight off, and I was like, oh, that is not a Glock front sight post. So unfortunately, they are not sight compatible with the Glocks. But continuing on forward for some semblance of order there on the frame, the release, the slide release and slide lock is, and I didn't have any issues with that with my thumb giving me a false slide lock. So if you guys have watched the channel for a number of years here on the channel, if you guys have watched the channel for years, you'll see that on Glocks, when they have that extended lever there, oftentimes I actually accidentally hit it and I get a false slide lock. So the slide is locked when there are still rounds in the gun. I did not have that at all during the testing here. We did have a couple instances where it didn't lock back on the last round, and very likely I was riding it, causing that to happen. That is because I use a high 2-thumb grip on the pistol. So it's probably not the gun's fault, it's probably this guy's fault. Moving on to the trigger, like I said, components are compatible with Gen 3 Glocks. That said, what does it feel like? I'll tell you, before we actually ghost it, it feels exactly like a Gen 3 Glock with a minus connector. So if you've ever fired one of those, that's what it feels like. So we do have a trigger safety on this one. It is gold, so it's a little bit easier to see. And basically you prep it to your sort of like false Glock wall, if you will, and then you press through until it breaks. And it breaks right at 4.5 to 5 pounds, and then the reset. It's tactile, it's audible, but just like with the minus connector, it's not quite as strong as it is with the base Glock connector, if that makes sense. So again, we're back on the sort of fake Glock wall that everybody knows. And then the reset. There you go. Good and positive, just not quite as positive as what a Glock traditionally is. We have a good undercut there on the trigger guard, allowing you to get nice and high up on the pistol. Of course, bore access is going to be very Glock-like, which is very good. Glock has a good bore access, always has. We already mentioned those finger spots there, or the memory spots on there. Up front on the trigger guard, it does have some texturing on there, so for folks who want to shoot it like that, you certainly can do so. Continuing on forward, it does have two 1913 spec rails on there for lights, lasers, etc. And before we move up to the optics mounting system on the slide, we need to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is the Stinger Combat Optic. It's a mil-spec holographic optic that brings military-grade tech to your rifle. A crisp HD circle dot with a 1 MOA center dot, as well as that 65 MOA outer ring that many of you guys know. It also allows you to select between red and green illuminations with 8 brightness levels that are easy to adjust as the lighting conditions you're shooting in also adjust. The optic is built tough with an aluminum housing. It's both fog and shock proof. However, it only weighs 6.9 ounces. It's lightweight and battle ready. It mounts to Picatinny, Weaver, and Mill standard rails, and it runs on a rechargeable CR123A battery and has auto shutoff to maintain good battery life. Typically, the optic comes in at $240. However, now with my link, it is just $79. That's 67% off for my audience, plus free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. You head over to mcgtac.com/GNG to pick one up. Now that we are back, let's talk about the slide here. First off is going to be the optics mounting system. There's some pros and cons to this one for sure. So first off, pros, it comes with 2 different pattern optics mounting plates from the factory. So when you get it in, you already have your plates in. That's something that a lot of gun companies that charge $1,000 and more don't do. So this one certainly doesn't cost rather anywhere near that, and it does come with them. And certainly it's nice. It comes with the RMR that we have here, pattern, and then also the Loophole Delta Point Pro pattern. So either one of those are probably 2 of the most common ones out there. You will be able to mount your optic from the factory. That said, some cons, right? So the plate on it, it's steel, it's rugged, no doubt about it, but it is thick. That is a thick plate, and because of that, it gets your optic relatively high on the gun. Additionally, one other con I'm going to give you on the plate system is that the screws that they're using there are soft. So I actually removed these and these just to test if they both felt the same. Now, good news is they are Loctited in, so that's good. But bad news is those screw heads are soft, and I would imagine if you were to install and uninstall them a number of times, you're going to end up stripping that thing out there. So that would be an improvement, if you will. A little bit harder screws would be nice. Serrations on the gun are good. I have no issues with them at all. They're not the grippiest out there in the world, but there definitely are worse ones out there for sure. I mean, you can get a hold of it. It's not a big deal. The slide itself is nitrided, as you would expect. And then the sights on the gun, we already mentioned they are not Glock pattern. However, they are true glow fiber optic sights. One thing I conveyed to the owner when I was talking to him at the Gun Owners of America convention is that the way they have them, in my personal opinion, is backwards. So they have two green ones there, fiber optic, and they are protected. It's a good design. They're true glow sights. A lot of people already have them. A lot of people are very familiar with them, but it has a red in the front. And in virtually every lighting condition outside of super bright, so like right now the sun has gone down for a few minutes. So when I go, it's like literally laughable to me. When I go out to present the sights, it's almost impossible upon initial sight presentation to find the front sight. And the reason for that is the green is just so much brighter in any condition outside of, you know, maximum sunlight. In maximum sunlight, it's fine. So if they were going to use fiber optic sights, this is exactly what I told the owner, and I'll tell you guys as well, is that if you were going to do that, I would put the green up front and the red in the rear. However, what I would ultimately do is I would just do a blacked out rear with a red or green in the front. And then that way, that's my preferred sighting picture. I like something I can see that draws my eye rather to the front sight, but I don't like anything in the rear sight. That's me, that's my personal preference. So there is that. Barrel on the gun, of course, is your standard 4-inch Glock 19 style barrel. And I say Glock 19 style, let's just show you. So here is a Glock 19. You guys can see the sizing is virtually identical. I tried a number of holsters with these guns. Every single one I had for a Glock 19 fit. That's not saying that every Glock 19 holster out there on the market will fit. I'm just saying I tried probably 6 or 7. They all fit it just fine. So there is that. There's a little bit of a difference there on the trigger guard, as you guys can see. But again, on the holsters I had that index on it, it worked just fine. So size-wise, it is virtually identical on that one. Let's talk about reliability. So reliability on this, we ran it with X-Tech mags, Glock mags, and then of course the magazines that it comes with from the factory, as well as Magpul P mags. And the majority of the ammo that we used with it was MagTech 115 grain from our friends over at Firearms Depot, who are supplying almost all the ammo here on the channel now, so we definitely appreciate that. And we had 0 malfunctions of any kind. We also shot some 124 grain Sig Sauer hollow points through it, as well as 147 grain Fiocchi hollow points through it. Again, 0 malfunctions of any kind. And right now, this gun's at about 600 rounds. This one's at about 400 rounds, so we're just over 1,000 rounds total. That's pretty good reliability for a gun in this price point. That said, a lot of you guys are sitting at home saying, it should be reliable. It's a Gen 3 Glock. I agree with you, but you still have to have quality control and all of those things to make it reliable. And so far, they absolutely have done that. Now, the big one that a lot of you guys are waiting for, price point on these, very good. So this particular one is a little bit more expensive. I think the MSRP on this is like 50 units of measure more. And then the Island, I think, is another 50 units of measure more. If you want that Island, it might be 100. Don't quote me on that one. I really didn't look into it again. Once I shot that, I was like, not for me. So there is that, but I know a lot of you guys are gonna want that Island one, so be it. But price point in terms of street price right now, as of when I just walked outside, I just checked it right before I came in, you can pretty commonly find these under 300 units of measure. So in terms of the value proposition, there's a lot going on here. If you like, you know, Glock ergonomics, it's gonna be very, very similar. I think this is a little bit better because it's a little bit less angled with the back straps that you can adjust. Trigger, perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Reliability has been flawless, 100%. Not mad about that at all. And again, at a price point under $300 for an optics ready gun that comes with 2 magazines, as well as a couple plates and fiber optic sights, I think it's a pretty good value. So that's pretty much it. There's a few things I would change, like we talked about. I would definitely make the sights different. I would definitely make them Glock compatible. That would be fantastic. The plate system, I think, could use a little bit of tweaking. And the magazine that it comes with, it looks cool, but not sure how practical that actually is on a 2-way range. So I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, post them down below. Additionally, you can post those over at my various social media sites that you guys see here on your screen. Definitely recommend that you guys follow me on the non-meta ones, particularly X. It's fire right now. Additionally, if you're following me there and you're subscribed on YouTube and Rumble and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, you're being censored by an algorithm from my content because I am putting it up. So an easy way to get around that is to sign up for my email at the website here on your screen. It'll get you put on 2 different lists. They go out in different schedules. So one of the emails will go out once a month and it has all the videos since my previous month's email went out. So that way there is no big tech giant censoring your eyes from my content through an algorithm. What a crazy concept. And then additionally, it'll get you put on the daily deals email. So when there's good deals on things like guns like this, the Derya DY9, optics, ammo, magazines, accessories, whatever it is, if the item is in the email on a given day, it is the cheapest I know of for that item in stock anywhere on the internet that I'm aware of when I send that email. So that way it saves you guys some time because I've already done some price comparisons for you and hopefully saves you some money as well. Side note, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes out here, particularly on my legs. I don't know why, but we will continue on. We also have a text message service that you guys can sign up for. That goes out at most once a day, and it will either have a really good deal in there that you guys can take advantage of. Typically, it's something that will sell out relatively quickly, so that way I get it right into your SMS inbox or your text inbox. You can sign up for that by sending the word gear to the code here on your screen, or you can just go to the website and sign up the old-fashioned way. Either way, it will get you signed up. So that will, again, at most once a day. It's not super spammy, either a really good deal or a new video that just dropped. And with that, that's all I got for you. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.